testimony. We now turn to the questions for the third panel, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes. Mr. Fowler, given the large range of vessels that Crowley operates, are there any categories on the shoreside part of this that are lacking and that they don't quite meet the needs that are necessary?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the question. I want to make sure I answer your question adequately, specifically as it relates to the shore side. How can I direct my response?
Well, just from the, are there certain services that are lacking in being provided?
Thank you. I appreciate the question. So Crowley operates many different types of vessels, right? We operate container vessels, we operate petroleum and chemical transportation vessels, we operate general cargo vessels, we operate government vessels. So as our vessels come in and out of the U.S. ports, the U.S. ports are adequate. They offer great service for us. The areas in which we operate, when we talk about in the COVID and the congestion that occurred on the West Coast, the areas that Crowley's operating, servicing the Caribbean, servicing the islands, servicing South America, really weren't met with those challenges. And so we have a great system that operates well, and in conjunction with our partners in ports across the country, we've had great service here, and in large part to the continued investment in those ports.
So from an operator's perspective, are there any, would you say what's the most pressing immediate needs for our nation's ports?
Thank you for your question. For us operating, Mr. Chairman, I'll say that the greatest challenges that we as operators face right now relate to mariner shortage. And this is something that we can take action on, and it's something that's of critical importance to us in ensuring that our vessels maintain an operation. Today, we have vessels that at times are not operating because of inadequate mariner levels that would need to operate those vessels. And so I would put that in two different categories. The first category would be in attracting new talent to our system, and making aware our industry. And this is an industry-wide problem. We need the support from MARAD and others to make aware and bring in more into our industry. The second, I would say, is that we have, as it relates to the mariner shortage, we have mariners who want to continue to progress through the system and upgrade their licensing and are struggling to do so. In some cases, it will take 100+ days of classroom time and up to $80,000 of their personal funding to see those upgrades. And you can imagine that if you've been at sea for 120 days, to come back then on your off time when you want to be with your family who you've been away from, to have to then go spend 100 days in the classroom and to invest significant dollars. There are ways for us to modernize that process, to reduce the financial burden, to have more internet delivery, e-delivery of that material that makes it easier for those mariners to upgrade their licensing. But if from an operator standpoint, the critical need that we have now is ensuring that we have adequate mariners in our system. Today, we're in a mariner shortage, and it's a crisis across our industry, and we certainly need some support in ensuring that we can solve this together.
It's kind of a crisis everywhere.
It is.
For every kind of worker. Mr. Wong, during the pandemic, we saw substantial supply chain disruptions driven by numerous factors, all kinds of inability just to move cargo. Have you seen any improvement in the intermodal side of what's happening?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for the question. Absolutely. Here at Port Miami and the majority of the Florida seaports, beneficially, we didn't really have as much of the stockhold of vessels out in Anchorage. Be it as it may, the Florida seaports, they have efficient operations and sufficient equipment. As far as the challenges that I think the nation ended up encountering was most definitely staffing, rotation of shifts to make sure that everyone wasn't hit by COVID at the same time. There was a lot of mechanisms that ports had to take as an industry as a whole to be safe during COVID. But as far as the Florida seaports as a whole, we were blessed that we didn't have any of that congestion here at our Florida seaports.